Yeah, it's quite okay when quite good when you start the tournament with a good win. It gives us more belief in ourselves.
Of course, sometimes it's good if you have a bad start or something, or you make some mistakes and have a tough match and win that. But of course, I mean, if you want to win it easy.
Austria is a very strong team. Both of them are top European players.
So we saw their first match, they played really good. I think they made maybe one mistake and everything. But I think the break is really important.
I think everything will be in these small moments of breaking and, you know, a little bit luck on difficult shots and stuff like that.
Let's have a good break and play good.
Yes, thanks very much indeed. Well, I don't think these two teams were quite expecting to be ready to rock and roll just yet, but that was double quick time, China progressing, wasn't it?
Yeah, a quick fix. They call it a donut. An early exit from this tournament for Ralf Souquet and Torsten Homan. China proceeds, and here Albin Ocean to break for Austria up against Russia for a place in the quarterfinal, where the winner will be playing against Scotland or England.
Not exactly a dazzling first round virtuoso performance from Austria, but they somehow came through. They've managed to pick up the wing ball here. They've got to look at the one ball as well, and I guess for Austria the good news was they won and they can only play better.
Yes, a win is a win in the end, but only until you've played a good match after you can forget that subpar performance. Just like with the miscue, Mario Hein, that previous first round match, miscued quite ugly, I can say. And only until you've made a power shot, a big draw shot, you can really trust your tip. So I hope all is good. All is not.
No. Mario had some ups and downs in his first round match, didn't he? It didn't cost them then. It might cost them against the Russians.
You are going to have ups and downs in any tournament, be it individual, be it in a team. It's all about the mental game. To be resilient and bounce back up when you're down on the floor. No shot on, he needs to play safety here. Good cue ball.
Yeah, managed to play hide and seek with the pink.
And the 9 ball blocks the path for a one-row escape. Now maybe he can hit in between the 7 and 6. And because of the slide and the topspin, he could arc into the 1. If he doesn't like it, or if it's not on, it's a 2-rail shot. Beautiful.
Like that.
Yeah, but Albin Ocean, his kicking game, we call this a kick shot, when a player hits into the rail to make illegal contact. His kicking game is really good, and that's such an important element in the game of 9 ball. Because it's a fight for the first shot, for the initiative. So in those safety battles, you need good kick shots.
Oh. Well, that has to go down as a miss, doesn't it? Potentially a very expensive one as well. Wonder what's going through his mind right now. Nothing worse than seeing that happen.
Well, I do want to say about that shot that the view that we had from the front, it looks, you know, you tend to think it's easy, straight in on the diagonal. But that's, you know, you really have to cue that perfectly.
The Russians remain in some serious trouble here.
Well, they'll be happy, Stepanov, to see that 1 ball. But there's no, you know, he would like to see the right side of the one so he could clip and come back to where he's now. He can still do that, but it's difficult to control the one.
Now he needs safety as well. What's he going to find? Is he going to tuck up behind that pink? Yes, the blues are blocking ball as well there. So now the pressure as the snooker battle goes back onto the mean machine, Albin Ushan.
No, I just spoke of his kicking game. It's easy to hit the one, but just hitting is not good enough. He needs to figure out how to get that ball to land safe, to not give away a shot.
Yeah, that's the key here. What's he going to get? Is that ball going to carry on travelling?
Nice try though. So second chance for Chinachov to draw first blood.
Yes, and Stepanov has come up to survey the scene as well. We'll have to agree to disagree on the pronunciation. I've always called him Stepanov, and I know I'm probably wrong, but that's a bad habit to break. Chinachov, anyway, has deposited a ball. The tall young Russian. And here's his partner now surveying the scene as well. What's he going to come up with?
Well, Stepanov, Stepanov, he put the tip. He was considering the position on the 4, the pink 4 later on, to go in between the 8 and 9. I always find that a bit scary, because they can also opt to leave the cue ball on the left-hand side of the table for a cut on the 4 to come around to play for the 6-7 combination. But they played it like this to have an angle on the 4 to open up that 6, but they didn't get there. He dug in that cue ball too deep, Ruslan.
Jacking up here. Well, the key there was just to keep everything on the table. We've seen a couple of cue balls hit the deck already in this competition, but I tell you what, he won't be happy with how that cue ball and pink have aligned.
Topspin with check side looks easier than it actually is, because on that slick cloth on the TV table, the side spin doesn't grip as much as most players are used from their own table or their club table. I wouldn't be surprised if Albin leaves an angle to play twice across. So if he now bumps up off of the long rail, let's see how much of an angle he leaves Mario Hay on that 7. No, he'll go directly. Stun into the long rail. A little bit of side spin to keep that cue ball alive and leave about a 45-degree angle on the 8 ball.
Well, it's slow and steady, this from the Austrian. It's not like all the shots are just laced together, and yeah, Ushan's just called for the extension here. It's not the most physically simple of shots here.
Well, he more than others will be able to reach that, having to stretch past that 9 ball.
Just got the legs, and it's hung on as well. Now, that was a slightly lump in the throat moment there for Albin, but Mario he can just roll this down into that bottom pocket, and Austria are on the board first.
Two shots the Russians had. 2 tries on that one ball. Chinakhov won the World Series of Pool, a big 8-ball tournament in the States. Surprised the whole international pool circuit. More those outside of Europe than those in Europe, because in the European circuit we have been for the past couple of years well aware of his qualities. Stepanov being a former European champion. Mosconi Cup winner in Vegas.
Thank you, right
He
two.
played great there.
Austria to break, leading 1 right to 0.
But it's the number 2 seeds here that have got the early initiative. Mario just checking the rack.
In the stands, I've spotted a thoughtful Johan Ruysink. He's the head coach of Russia. This could confuse people, because he's also going to work with Team USA for the Mosconi Cup.
Yeah, wing ball down. Got another ball in for good measure as well. And cue ball and 1 ball sitting nicely in the middle of the table. So Austria looking to stay in business here. Got to get position off this 1 to go back up and get that 2.
Difficult to get to the 2. We're going to see something nice here.
Yeah, position's the key. Just getting it off the rail there.
Yeah,
Mario,
well,
this
is nice. This is nice. He played it moderate, but good. So moderate is always good. Clinical. Doing no more than needed. Because now
Extension call.
Mario, I think, has a natural angle. Here is Johan Ruysink in a very thoughtful pose. The thinker. And he is a thinker. He's a strategical genius. Has proven so in the Mosconi Cup, but also his work with the Russian team has proved fruitful. In the first month that he started for the Russians, Chinakhov won the Moscow Open and played a big challenge match against Shane van Boening, who, you know, was thought to always win those long races. Chinakhov won. Chinakhov won also the Moscow Open, the Kremlin Cup called. And a year later, winner in New York.
Well, that just shows the value of good coaching. Coaches can watch here at the World Cup of Pool, but they cannot contribute in match. Oh, that's a miss. Well, he's got it up on that top rail, so that's the good news for him.
But as a 9-ball player, as a professional, you learn to accept, you know, the rolls, the bad rolls. And you're just happy actually to get to the table. The Russians with a chance to overtake the initiative, to hide that cue ball behind the 9. A little thick. Where's the cue ball going?
Hang on, straight down by the look of it. Yeah,
Off stroke.
there you go.
Ball in hand.
So ball in
Start
hand,
the
and
clock,
the Russians' shaky start continuing here.
It's easy to get down on yourself. But this was a very difficult shot for Stepanov. I mean, I talk from experience, because as a player, for example, I played in Cardiff in the World Championship, finished in the last 16, lost that match, and for years I thought I played a horrible match and really dogged it or choked it or fumbled. And then 15 years later, for the first time, I look back at that match and I conclude, you know, I missed one ball, I misplayed the safety, and that was it actually.
Yeah. Isn't that true though in so many sports? You're never as bad as you think you are, and equally you're very rarely as good as you think you are.
Yeah.
So true, isn't it?
Oh yeah, good point, because when you play, well, when I play good, I think I'm the, you know, well, let's not go there, but you're right. You're right, and that's exactly the trap in pool, the trap in all sports. Play without ego.
Well, again, steady as she goes for the number 2 seeds. Nothing flash and fancy about them so far, just efficiently going about their business. And Austria looking to make a mark in this tournament. I think a lot of people raised eyebrows when you think of Austria as a number 2 seed, when you think of all the great pool nations, but they've been having a nibble the last 2 or 3 years of going deep. Semi-finalists in 2014, a couple of quarterfinals in there, but generally getting bounced out, as you can see early. This year could be very different, could be a coming of age for Austria in the World Cup of Pool. The number 2 seeds, we saw the number 1 seed, Chinese Taipei, stagger across the winning post earlier today. Seeding and favoritism and what the bookies think don't count for anything when you're on the table. Of the surviving nations, there's got to be 6, 7, maybe 8 nations that you can make a really good case for going all the way and winning this trophy. Oh, lost the cue ball completely off the break.
Oh, that's the... I think that's the first time that someone jumps the cue ball off of the table.
That was a real shock. Well, he's obviously dug down on it so much that he's lost control of it completely. And as you say, that is a major shock.
Yeah, a game changer possibly. And it's, you know, what happens in the pre-match interviews. Both parties were talking about the importance of the break. And that awareness of the importance of that one shot can make that backhand tighten up just that bit too much.
It's interesting watching Ushin's reaction as well. He took the blame for that one himself. You know, sometimes strange things happen that confuse the player as much as anything, but I think Albin knew, oh, I've overdone that one badly. And there was a lovely spread of balls for the Russians. And what an opportunity for them. This is a gimme.
And not alone the chance and the point on the board that they can get right now, it's also seeing weakness in your opponent. So they played some bad shots, the Russians. They're thinking about their own weakness. And all of a sudden you see that the other guy's suffering as well. So it makes it easy to uplift your own morale.
And this is what you do, of course, in a situation like this, when you've got an opponent that's just dropped a clanger, laid an egg. You have to make sure they are punished for it. That's what's going to happen here. Konstantin Stefanov, the Muscovite, with the 9-ball to put Russia on the board. Everything happened off the break there. Albin Ushin losing control of the cue ball inexplicably. Lost the rack off the back of it. It was a lovely spread of balls. Russia saying thank you very much. There it goes. There goes the rack. We'll have continuing coverage of Austria versus Russia in just a couple of moments. The third match of our afternoon session has produced a dramatic moment right here. Follow the bouncing ball all the way onto the floor. That was from Albin Ushin. Austria said, ball in hand, we'll take that, thank you very much. Ushin will have to fine-tune his break. Chinese Taipei staggered past Poland. China blew Germany off the bays altogether. Austria edging Russia here in the afternoon. The evening session, some real gems to look forward to. Philippines and the Netherlands, two genuine prospects. Scotland, England, the renewal of that great sporting rivalry. And USA against Spain to conclude day 4. and to indeed conclude the second round. It'll be quarterfinals when the dust has settled on today. The Elite 8 teams all eyeing the prize.
Chinagov here breaking from the right side. I guess he did not watch the match between China and Germany. Wu had 2 dry breaks from this side.
Well, he hasn't got a dry break.
No, not if he breaks with this speed. What a monster break this is. Hello. Had 2 misses on the 1 ball in the first rack. I think he let out all the anger on that shot.
You are not kidding. What a break. Anytime you get 4 balls down on a break, you're going to be really unlucky if you've not got a chance to just clean up.
Well, there's this clip on YouTube where Pegelein makes, I believe, 6 balls on a break and he doesn't get out. I once saw a guy make 7 balls in an eyeball rack and he was snookered on the lowest ball.
Wow. It's a weird game.
It's a beautiful game.
It's the one thing, if I know one thing about pool, you've never got this game under control, have you? You never have it where you want it. You might be on form, but it'll go just as quickly as you get hot as well.
Yeah, like Neil said yesterday in the press conference, always stay humble. Never get ahead of yourself.
If you don't, this game will humble you.
Taking good care, Stepanov on this 9. Not taking it for granted, and rightfully so. You don't want to be the one going viral.
And he won't be going viral on that. What he will be doing is high-fiving his teammate. And he can thank him for one of the easiest racks we've seen in the match so far. Monster break. I don't think he'll be changing sides. I mean, this was an absolute sizzler from the big fella.
Now look at his action. How does he get that speed into the ball? How long is that backswing? A lot of acceleration and thrust with the hips. Let's take another look. And that's where you get the mass and speed from, that back leg. Back leg decides when the forward thrust starts, and then gradually or swiftly actually moving into an upward motion, so you don't fall on the table.
Let's see if Konstantin can follow suit.
Yeah, he is good mechanics as well.
Well, he's got the wing ball down. He almost scratched. The 1 ball has followed as well. The 2 is up against the rail. That's the bad news out of that break.
Yeah, could bank it, but there's no, you know, too little future in that shot.
Watch that cue ball, just danced around the side of the jaw of the middle pocket there, and then said, "Ah, it's okay, I'll stay up." But yeah, the 2 is problematic.
Not, you know, position is difficult, not to be played as a shot to nothing, so safety. Thin to the pink.
Oh, that was a bit nothing sort of shot.
Well,
I mean, it didn't have enough either way, did it?
No, he actually didn't try to go to the pink. He wanted to use the 7 and 9. Have them as friends on this table. A scary shot, because like that you're not going to be leaving distance. But he misjudged the speed grossly there.
Got to treat your friends better than that. Thread the needle time for Mario. And an easy get.
Gets an applause. They would have liked that cue ball to stop earlier or roll on a little bit more. Big stroke now. with left-hand spin to accelerate that cue ball and open the angle. Nicely done.
Yeah, he's really played a beauty there. Just look at the work that cue ball's doing.
Come around or drop that cue ball on the left of the 6. Oh, he's elevating. Prefers to punch this, go in between the 6-9. Looking good. Looking good. Will make it a lot easier for Albin to forget that flying cue ball on the break.
I'm sure he's forgotten it already, but it'd be interesting to see how he adjusts next time he does break.
Yeah.
Lovely bit of positional work again there from Mario.
He's a little straight here. No problem, but it's not an automatic. Good shot, that's nice. The need for speed. Perfect shape.
Just like that, Austria back in front. Well, it was that shot to nowhere, really, from Chinnikov that set that up. Now we'd love to have that one back. He needed to go really soft, he needed to go really long, and he ended up hitting the middle ground and just laid it up on a plate for the big fella.
Maybe exactly that. He was limping on two thoughts. Undecided when he pulled the trigger. Mario Hay getting ready for the break.
Well, just to really make it a bit disappointing for Chinnikov. Another chance to see all his options. He had so many options there and he's picked the worst possible one. Paid the price.
Right 6. Austria to break.
Back in the lead, Team Austria. Mario Hay comes from Rankwal. Patrick's, the pool room. Beautiful pool room in the mountains, where they've hosted many, many international tournaments.
He too has the wing ball down.
Strong break. Not the best of positions on the one. With a clear view. But far and the cue, the rock, close to the rail. A tester, a blood test for Albin Ushan. Wondering if he's going to play this with topspin or dig in, elevate the butt of the cue and play it with a little more punch. He's going forward. Blood test is positive. He still has his bottle. Now the easiest positional wise is to stay on the low side of the 5 from the 4. But it will be a difficult pot.
Yeah, this is difficult.
Brr. Looking at the cut to the side pocket. In that manner, he can direct the cue ball to the right long rail to come back towards the 5. Recovery shot.
Yes, he's used the full width of the pocket there to get that. Oh, God. Got plenty of angle on it as well for the 5. It's cleaning off a little bit more of the lint off the table.
This is missable though, Nick. Yes, some angle on the 5. More quality there.
Yeah. Work the angle as well. Because shot on the 6.
The angle that he had on the 5, some players, a player out of form, would not have liked that subtlety that was needed to play it like this, and looked for 2 rails long.
So overall, Mario's putting in a pretty solid performance in this second round match. He was a bit hit and miss in his first round match. He sharpened his game up considerably here.
Well, I'm actually convinced that a player in form, it's not so much about his top game or his A game, it's more a player in form is mentally stronger in between those phases where he plays his best pull. So they don't get down on themselves so much. They bounce back up again. Keep doing the work.
Well, this is the sort of shot that we see get missed every once in a while.
He can float this in, so he can use the full width of the pocket. Not needed.
Oh, he's played that beautifully. He really, he's on it today, Mario.
Yeah, he's having a good season. You know, since he was coming through the juniors into the men's division in Europe, you know, very talented, getting good results, but it needed time for him to mature. In the past year and a half, he's really done so and getting the results.
They're on a good run here, the Austrians. Efficient, calm, measured, in control of this second round match. The Russians seem to have been stuck in their seats for a long time now. It's still only 4-2. There's still a route back for the Russians, but they've got to get Austria off the table. They're looking good at the moment, the number 2 seeds. Day 4 of the World Cup of Pool in the eastern side of this great city, London. Bethnal Green, the York Hall, the famous old boxing arena. We've seen knockout blows today delivered by Chinese Taipei and China. Austria looking to join those two in the quarterfinals tonight. Philippines, Netherlands, Scotland, England, United States and Spain. Mouth-watering collisions all the way down the card here on day 4. And that will conclude round 2. It'll be quarter-final action tomorrow, then on Sunday semi-finals and final. Austria at the moment comfortable here, but let's not forget what happened last time this man stepped up to break. The cue ball almost took out somebody's eye in the 3rd row.
Yeah, he was in those breaks. Also the other one, he tried to break without body, just arm movement. Let's see what he does, and I'll say more about that. Okay, little movement there. If you try to generate all the acceleration and speed with your arm, it can be difficult to control the line, to be accurate on the line of the cue ball. So here he was still pretty static, but he was giving a little push with his shoulder. In so doing, generating the power with a little more ease. That's why on the break players stand up a little more, make a little more room to generate more leverage. That's precise cueing right there.
I tell you, he's the money man at the moment, Mario.
Well, we have
hang on. Has he given him enough of a look at that too? No, he hasn't. Spoke too soon. I don't think he can quite see that.
Now, did Albin go out to get his jump cue?
Extension call.
No,
Extension call, please.
yeah, he's having a good long look at this.
Yes, he did.
He did.
Oh, I wouldn't have the nerve to do this. So difficult to keep the cue ball on the table. Oh, hello. Unbelievable shot here by Albanesian. This surely to be in the top 3 of shots of the championship. Beautiful. He hit it as good as he could have. Beautiful.
Well, if you're wondering how he became a world champion, that's one of the answers right there. As you say, one of the great shots we've seen.
Ah. Showing a lot of cool. He placed the clock really well. The shot clock. Just a stop shot. And the ball's not straight, so the cue ball will not stop. But I mean the spin and speed to play a stop shot if it were straight.
Looking comfortable again here, Austria. They are just controlling this table at the moment. You need a history lesson to remember the last time the Russians were up at the table. And the last time they were up was when Chinnikov hit that mid-range safety that wasn't. And they really have been punished for it. Austria racing away now to 5-2. And just frustration for those two as they sit and wait.
Yeah, it's very frustrating. Then they saw Mario Hay make that positional mistake. Then you start to think, oh, we're going to get back to the table. And then that beautiful shot by Albin. Beautiful, really. Lifesaver.
We're starting to see in this match, aren't we, really, Alex, just why Austria are seeded as high as they are. And, you know, another look at this, we can see that all night. I mean, and I'm sure we will see it again and again and again, but we didn't really see the best of them in their first round match. Yes, they got through, they didn't impress, but today we're seeing what a solid all-round game they've got.
Very calm, because they've made mistakes. Look, it's easy to be calm when you're playing flawless, but it's especially in a match where mistakes are made, B level, like a solid middle game or even a C game, then the mental game really comes through. And they've shown that mental maturity. Uh-oh.
Oh, he got lucky there. He got very lucky. Because not only do you need to be good to be successful in pool, you need to be lucky sometimes as well. Now, it would have been a bit unfortunate because the ball had stopped completely until the 2 came along and just gave it a boot up the backside, but it stayed on the table.
Yeah, the pool gods there playing with the minds of the Moscovits.
Yeah, that's a couple of times they've been just easing themselves out of their chairs, haven't they? So, no, back in again. Stefanov looks rooted to the spot there, isn't he? He's just slumping into his seat.
Albin can get there stretching. He'll take an extension for his cue and possibly an extension on the clock. Needs to come over the center of the table. Cruising. This is how I would like to see it if I were in the Austrian camp. Every match a little better, and in this match, every wreck a little better.
Yep. Because even though they got lucky that the cue ball stayed up, it wasn't a bad shot. It would have been a bit of bad luck if that had dropped. It was a cannon from the two. They are playing very, very well. This is high-level stuff, this. Spare a thought for the Russians. And Chinnikov in particular. I mean, Chinnikov's shot that let them in. I mean, boy, have they been punished for it.
Yes, but I want to add that already in the beginning, they've made mistakes, the Russians.
Yep.
You have to look at the whole match.
Yep.
Not at what happened at 2-2. But maybe they could have seized opportunities earlier even.
But from 2-2, it's 6-2. Austria, the number 2 seeds, on the hill and looking so comfortable. They're basically one break and one good roll of the balls from being in the quarterfinals. And if they can carry this form throughout the rest of the competition, they are going to take some stopping.
Second match tonight is England with Imran Majid and Daryl Peach up against Pat Holtz and Jason Shaw for Scotland. Their winner will be up against Austria or Russia.
There's England v Scotland. I'm sure you've known many times and seen many times in the past, Alex. Always a little bit of edge when those two teams bang heads.
Yeah, it's going to be a cracker. As the match before that one and the match after.
9.
Oh, they're
Austria
all
to
good.
break.
Philippines,
36
Netherlands.
racks to
Spain, USA.
Yeah. So, breaking for a place in the quarterfinals here, Austria, 6-2 up. Ushan, who did lose control of one of these, hasn't lost control there, has he? Nice spread of balls. Look where that one's lining up. Oh, hang on. No. There's a little bit of work to be done here, but
well,
it could have been worse.
Little is it could have been worse, yes. But little is the distance to the one ball. But big the task for Mario Hay because he's off angle. It's very difficult to get any spin on that cue ball working with this distance. If he overhits this because he's cueing downwards, the cue ball is going to jump. And it will be disobedient.
Whilst these two consider their options, what do you do, and you've been in this situation yourself many times, Alex, what do you do when you're in the other chairs and you're just sat there and sat there and sat there? How do you stay in the game, or do you just zone out?
Well, you know, you want to be on neutral, but when you're in the chair, you know, negative thoughts are going to be popping up. So then I would advise like active self-talk, just like you see a tennis player do. Telling yourself to be ready, to stay ready, to believe that anything can happen. It's like it's a dark side that is calling, like oh, it's done and we played bad, now we got to go home. You have to counter that.
Well, they are up on the table, but whether they're going to have any kind of shot to work with, yeah, well, they'll be able to see this, but whether they'll be able to pot it is another matter. And if they can't get rid of it, they've got to make sure they get safe.
So here, Mario Hay, we saw a missed that shot quite thick. That was in order to get that cue ball to the long rail. It's on.
Extension
You're
call.
back against the wall. Worse even, with a gun to the head. Chinnikov needs to make this one ball. Any amount of unwanted side on that cue ball and he's going to miss it.
Huge shot this.
The purest of strokes needed.
And he hasn't got it, and that, I think, is that as far as the Russians are concerned.
Now, if we can see a replay of that shot, we saw that the tip, the pullback was so big that the tip stuck behind the bridge hand just a blip of a second. No, actually, no, it was straight through.
But it's gifted the table to Austria, and it may well have gifted a quarter-final to Austria as well.
Now, it's all going to depend on the angle that they have on the 5 ball. If the 7 ball needs to be cut with the cue ball going up and down back to the 8 ball, or that they can come out straight enough on the brown 7 to just leg it in. Traveling to be done. Oh, this is tricky, Nick.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
If he's playing like a gentle draw, that's such a scary stroke on this cloth.
Well, let's see what he can find.
Oh, nice. He could hit it full enough to punch it to play stun, and the angle that Albin has received from Mario Hay, well, is small enough to kill it, to play it single speed. Could choose to go up and down. It's personal preference.
Now then, basically this for the match for Mario.
Yeah, clean as a whistle.
Beautiful, beautiful. Boy, he has been solid this afternoon, Mario Hay. And the final act of this one goes to Albin Ushan. And that is that. With a minimum of fuss, the number 2 seeds have brought their A game today to dispatch the dangerous dark horses Russia. They never got out of the stables. They were locked in. These guys looked very good. Very strong. That's why they're the number 2 seeds. That's why they're a live contender to win this title. Well, we'll have some reaction from the winners in just a couple of moments, and plenty more to look forward to here on day 4 of this World Cup of Pool. Back in a moment.
Welcome back to the World Cup of Pool, where we've just witnessed Austria dismantle the Russians 7-2. A very impressive performance from the Austrians. We've got the numbers here for you to look at now. We can see their successful breaks for the Austrians, 6-2 for the Russians. Average balls on break at 1.6 for the Austrians. Russians impressive there though, 3.0, and break and win rack 6-1. That is why these guys are standing next to me. Hello to Albin and to Mario. Congratulations on a great win, guys.
Thank you very much.
How are you feeling after that match?
Feeling very good. We wanted to get to the quarterfinal at least, and we did it.
It's interesting because your first match against Sweden was a little bit tricky, but it just seemed like today you were a lot more fluid, and you know, you were both in it together.
Yeah, I think we're a little bit more relaxed and everything. I mean, we still made some mistakes, and thank God the luck was on our side. But of course, we felt pretty good, and I think we showed on the table.
Did you watch the Russians match from the first round at all? Because they won 7-0 against Malaysia, and did you know that you just had to keep them in their seat?
Yeah, we watched them and they played really good, and we just said we play our own game and we cannot do anything more. We just have to play our game and hope to win.
Albin, before you go, I've just got to ask you about that amazing shot that you took along the rail. It was a fantastic shot. What was going through your head before you took that?
Well, I was shaking, to be honest. I was just thinking about should I take the short jump cue or the long one. So I took the long one, and well, it felt pretty good after, and I think that was the key moment of the match.
Well, listen, congratulations on a great win, guys. You are through to the next round.